January 20, let's take a look under the hood. First things first, let's look at this chord, which is what it's all really based on. So we have like an F sharp 6 and an E flat major 7 sus 2, which you could kind of look at as that chord that I really like, the B flat over its natural fourth. These are a couple of nice chords to pair together because what happens here is they're both major, so you get a major impression, but they're a minor third apart, so you end up with a modal change between like an F sharp and an E flat or a B flat. Also, this jam is in 7/4, so let's look at the drums and hear how that sounds. So you can see, like, if this is a bar of 7 here, you can see that we've got very much a snare backbeat, like 1, 2, 3, 4 here, right? So that's 4 beats. And then the rest of this is like a 3. And you can see it starts out, the first 2 beats look like the exact same backbeat, and then we sneak in a quick little snare here. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I did a lot of stuff with time signatures last January and came up with some cool results, but the main thing that I noticed is if you want to start slicing beats or adding beats, the thing that really is going to make it like super easy is messing with the snare pattern. Because people follow a backbeat snare. I can't think of an analogy, but they follow it really, really closely. And so if you start messing with that backbeat snare, like, people are just going to look for the next snare, and then they're going to be right back on track with you. And when I say people, I mean people who like just casually listen to music and probably don't even know about odd time signatures or how any of this works. If you start messing with the snare, they might be confused or intrigued or not sure what's going on, or maybe they'll just like not question it, or I don't know exactly what goes on there when you start messing with time signatures with people that don't know about this stuff. But they're just going to be like waiting for the next snare to happen. And they're going to be right back on track with you. I'm not even sure how many people realized listening to this the first time that it wasn't in 4. Because it kind of sets you up to not really be thrown that much. Because what you're listening to is this like 8th note chord thing, and you can really easily bob along with the quarter note, and that never flips. Not really. It's just like you count 3 and you count 4, and the backbeat snare just reassures you every time it happens. Anyway, let's continue on with the arrangement. So we have that chord for the first bit, and then as you can see down here, in like an A-B fashion, I've added hi-hats every second time. So there's none here, and there's some here. And those hi-hats are just straight 16th notes. All of the drums are concrete instruments. That one's iron oxide. I think this one's different. And this one's low tension kit, just because I couldn't find a nice tight little hi-hat to use. Sounds horrible. And then on top of that, there's basically just a bunch of leads happening. So you can see like another thing that makes a time signature easier to follow is if you use the arrangement, that is to say the chords or the melodies, to direct you towards a downbeat. So the last 2 beats of each bar, I did a run here, right, and it helps you feel the downbeat. Then we have an actual melody. The chords are like an F sharp and some kind of E flat or B flat type thing. And so you can see these first few notes, like this is F sharp major, the first 5 notes of the scale. And this is actually like an F major, the first 5 notes of the scale. So I would say this is probably doing like an E flat Lydian, B flat Mixolydian type of thing, but it just sounds like it comes off as F sharp going down to F major. And that's one fun thing that you can do with modal changes. Just because it's moving between like an F sharp and a B flat doesn't mean that you can't find a melodic pattern or a chord shape or something that moves in a different way, like F sharp to F, for example. And a lot of the time you can find ways to move your chords up and your roots down, and it creates like a contrasting effect. We've got a couple of little chord shots here. And then we've got this like quick arpeggio type lead. All of these leads are just simple massive patches. I've got RC20 on them. The shimmery chord stab has wider on it, because that's the kind of sound that, you know, sort of sits in the background, so you don't need it to be front and center. This lead has Sound Toys effect rack with crystallizer on it for some of that sweet delay. RC20 again. And then at the end we've got this lead with another crystallizer delay on it. And there you have it. That's pretty much the track. It's just like the main components are this chord that never stops and the drums that go with it, and then it's just changing the leads throughout to create a little bit of a sense of contrast between sections, even though we're really just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Anyway, January 20th. There you go.